Welcome back to the G-Funk Junkies podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We're picking up right where we left off. This is the final installment of the Chronic Review. Without further ado, here's part 3. Track number 11, Lyrical Gangbang. I love the intro, the great segue into the song.
This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
The beat sounds rather simple with the drums taken from Led Zeppelin's When the Levee Breaks. Accordingly, this song was made after Stranded on Death Row and Nothing But a G Thing.
Just watching them as they're creating the album itself in general. One of the first records I heard was a nigga with a motherfucking gun. And G Thing, you know what I mean? Stranded on Death Row. After that, it was Lyrical Gangbang. And then Bitches Ain't Shit was the last record we made.
As a teenager, I couldn't get enough of the synthesizer, and I wish that it appeared more often than the 3 times we hear it throughout the song. This track is notable because of Corrupt. He tears it up and positions himself as a lyricist with a precision and skill. RBX has a dope verse too, but Corrupt definitely steals the show. When you hear the song, at least in my recollection of that, it was just too damn raw, unfiltered, and aggressive. Known samples used in the song: Damn by the Nightlighters, When the Levee Breaks by Led Zeppelin, Played Like a Piano by King T, and Hole in the Head by Cypress Hill. Track 12, High Powered. So the story goes that Dr. Dre woke up RBX to show him this beat and asked if he had anything to write to it. RBX was like, alright, thinking it was just going to be something he lays down as a reference track, but Dre liked it enough to record it in one take.
Woke up, like, fool, I got this track you need to come check out. And I'm like, okay. He said, if you finish this will be the last song on the album. And I said, oh, okay then. So I was listening to the track, and then it just hit 7 executions. And I did it. I was just waking up, and I was kind of rehearsing it. Thought Dre was going to let me do it again, but he didn't let me do it again.
Oh, so that was a one take?
Yeah. I knew it was dope, kind of, because when I finished it, Dre kicked me out the studio.
You can hear Dr. Dre in the intro while Daz does the outro, leaving RBX to dominate the song with his rugged and baritone voice. This was the only solo track where RBX lays down his lyrical prowess, and quite frankly, this is a testament to how underrated he is as an MC.
7 execution style murders. I have no remorse cause I'm the fucking murderer. Haven't you ever heard of?
If there's one thing I don't like about Death Row is how many of their artists, RBX included, didn't get a solo debut album in the label's heyday.
God damn.
Let me explain how this relates to Chicanos. In 1998, Royalty released a dope song produced by VMF with the synthesizer from High Powered replayed, and man, that song is fire. It's called Coast to Coast. Known samples used on High Powered are Buffalo Gals by Malcolm McLaren, and I think that's it. Track number 13, The Doctor's Office. Again, I'm not a fan of skits. The title is a play on Dr. Dre's name and profession. If you've ever wondered what song is playing in the background, it's Back in Bed Again by the First Lady of Death Row, Jewel. Track number 14,
Stranded on Death Row.
It wasn't until a number of years ago that I found out that Bushwick Bill does the intro and the outro of the song.
Yes. It is I, says me. And all who agree are more than 3 because they're we.
Obviously, the title is a reference to the name of the label. And if you take a look at the cover, the lower left corner indicates the Chronic features the Death Row inmates. The story goes that Dr. Dre had made this record specifically for Corrupt in mind.
And so it was like, bam, those was the 2, and he was just creating as he went. Then one day he came to me and said, here, I got this for you, Corrupt. You're going to set this off. I was like, damn, let me hear it. And all you heard was, wham, wham. And I said, oh my God, he smiled at me. And that's why I started that off. Dr. Dre hand-picked that for me. He made it, you know what I mean? Stranded on Death Row.
There was no subject matter, and Corrupt set the tone for the song with his first line. He practically came up with the name of the record. The theme goes on with the doors of a cell closing before Corrupt rips his first verse apart.
Stranded on Death Row, so duck when I swing my shit. I'm stacking and macking and packing a tent, so when you're slipping.
Then comes in RBX, continuing with verse 2, or Cell Block 2, as he references.
So what you wanna do? The narrator RBX, Cell Block 2.
When the Lady of Rage continues on with her verse, there's a portion of the track, the part where she says, "Bucking down with my underground tactics." Yeah, that was used by Fully Strapped's Hostile Takeover album. Snoop continues on to the third verse. In an interview from MTV, he talks about how Dre told him how he needed to sing his part.
Stranded on death row. When I was like, I'm not sagging, but I'm blue flagging, but you don't want to see the D-O-double-G. He made me do it like that tone. I wanted to do it in another tone, and I didn't understand why, but then when it finally came out, I was like, okay, dokie. It made me sound like I could sing, you know what I mean? Notes, things that I don't know about.
Well, if you want to add more credibility to Cold 187, I'm saying that Dre took his formula. The song Never Missing a Beat by ATL literally has the same melody playing. Obviously, both songs are a reference and an ode to Knee Deep by Parliament. This brings the album somewhat to a full circle, with the album having started with the cell doors closing,
Welcome to Death
and the album coming to an end doing just that. Known samples used were Do Your Thing by Isaac Hayes, If It Don't Turn You On by BT Express, and The Jam by Graham Central Station. Track number 15, The Roach Outro. The name of the song is fitting considering that a roach clip is the last bit of bud left in a blunt or a joint. RBX narrates, as he often reminds us throughout the album. He lets the audience know that it's not stress or bionic, aka weed laced with PCP, or as they used to call it, wet. Make My Bud the Chronic. This portion of the track was referenced in 2 diss tracks from Ruthless Records. First, it was on the It's On song by Eazy-E when he says, "Smoke a little sherm, now you calling shit the chronic." This is referenced again on the song Old School Shit, where BG Knockout says, 187's how we do it on the West. You say your shit is chronic, but to me it's more like stress. Or should I say, make my shit the stronic? Ironically, Eazy-E's 1993 EP had a similar template with the song named Down to the Last Roach, meant to wind down the album. Known samples used on this song are P-Funk, What's to Get Funked Up, Color Me Funky by Parliament, and Impeach the President by the Honey Dippers. Track number 16, Bitches Ain't Shit. Back in 1992, Roxanne Shante had a song called Brothers Ain't Shit that was part of an album released just 2 months prior, and as you probably guessed, this was a response to that record, as well as a diss towards Eazy-E. The song starts off with Snoop's voice before breaking into a drum pattern and followed by the chorus. Dr. Dre kicks it off without mincing any words and goes straight to calling out Eazy-E and how he preferred being tied with Jerry instead of his boys, aka the rest of NWA.
I used to know a bitch named Mary Wright, and the few ends she got didn't mean nothing. Now she's suing, cause shit that she be doing ain't shit.
Daz takes the second verse, and again, as simple as Daz's rhymes are, he has a very nonchalant way of kicking them. And I think he does a very good job hanging with more versatile rappers.
So recognize and pass the day. Now as I'm rolling with my nigga Dre in Eastwood, fucking hoes clocking dough up to no good.
Corrupt busts his suave style of rapping and proceeds with a braggadocious verse.
And I'm here now, I'm ready to be done up. Nothing but homies around, so I put my gun up. Bitches on my nuts like clothes.
Snoop does his thing and probably steals the show with a story about how he was all sprung on a hyena named Mandy May.
I once had a bitch named Mandy May.
He raps about how his girl was tricking behind his back when he was locked up, and to add insult to injury, it was with his little cousin Daz.
Move up the blocks as we groove up the blocks, kicking the dough. I look on the floor, it's my little cousin Daz and he fucking my hoe.
Now, Mandy May is referenced again in another song by Warren G many years later.
A long time ago I met Annie Mae, she was killing me softly.
I don't like Rage's verse, and a good thing that she closes out the song because I stopped the song as soon as her verse starts. Rage does some singing and then raps about being a freak. Yeah, after that I just tune out and turn off the song.
Wait a minute, JB, cut that beat down.
In an interview with Bootleg Kev, Corrupt also explains that this was the last song on the album and how this beat was nothing but a G-Thang remix stripped down.
And then Bitches Ain't Shit was the last record we made, which is basically he showed us that you could take one beat, take all the music off, keep 2 pieces of it, the drums, the bass line, maybe one other piece, and make a whole new record. They won't even know that they're the same. So he stripped down G Thing Remix, and that's Bitches Ain't Shit. He took everything off except for the the key thing, and then the boom, 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 and the drums, and made Bitches Ain't Shit. And he also taught me something then too, because my verse, I started off, bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. Lick on these nuts and suck I was rapping it though. Dog is all melody. He taught me melody.
Accordingly, Corrupt came up with the song. It all started with a 16-bar verse that Dr. Dre heard at the beginning of, at least the first 4 or 8 bars, and he said, stop, that's the hook. And this makes sense. When you hear the rest of the verse after those initial bars, then I hops in my coupe to make a quick run. Now, if you listen to more modern music, this song was sampled by YG on a song also titled Bitches Ain't Shit featuring Tyga and Nipsey Hussle. Known samples used on this song are Adolescent Funk by Funkadelic and Let's Get Small by Trouble Funk. Standing at just under 63 minutes, the album, as Kanye West has put it, The Chronic is still the benchmark you measure your album up against if you're really serious, even 33 years after it was first released.
God damn.
It changed the landscape of hip-hop. It ushered the Death Row era. It platformed Snoop Dogg and launched the careers of Nate, Daz, Corrupt, Warren G, and the Lady of Rage. It would have been dope if this album was released on 4/20 of 1993, just to add more emphasis on the album, but that's just my opinion. Something that I wish was included on this album was Deep Cover. I think it's a vital track, and there's 2 reasons I can attribute to why it's missing. The first being the controversy surrounding Body Count song Cop Killer, and number 2, Dr. Dre has stated that he didn't like the track. Can you believe that shit? This motherfucker really said that he did not like the track after he made it. Despite it, there's even a remix, so I don't know, I just don't get Dre sometimes.
The first of those records was the title song from the Deep Cover soundtrack.
I actually didn't even like the song when we finished it.
Because I used to always tell Dre, let's perform this song, let's do this song. He'd be like, I ain't fucking with that. Well, he never liked performing Deep Cover.
Really?
He hated that song.
Well,
like, he hated it to the point to where he didn't even want to put it out.
All of this leads me to another point, that even as cognizant as Dre is, the records that he doesn't think will end up becoming classics do, such as In the Smoke, Deep Cover, Get Your Walk On, 21 Questions, and even Regulate.
And funny thing about that song, Get Your Walk On, was we were finishing up the record, and Dre hated that record. He was like, don't put that on the record. I was like, nigga.
There was nothing that felt like Regulate at that time.
Nah.
Did anybody tell you, man, that's not the record?
I don't even want to tell you.
Who?
I mean, because I was crushed. The Good Doctor, he didn't like it. He
Dre told you that's not the record?
He didn't like it. Swear to God. I was crushed. I talked to, I told
And he heard the Regulate we hear now?
Yeah,
like he heard Regulate.
He heard it, because this is, watch this. So he heard it, he was like, it's all right, you know. And then when he do that, he ain't fucking with it.
Right.
He ain't messing with it, so.
That ain't easy with Dre, because Dre, you know him, he real meticulous.
It's for real.
He real meticulous, man.
He didn't like endo smoke.
Really?
Mm-mm.
What?
Or regulate.
You kidding?
Yes, he does have the ear for a hit, but it's not always correct. He does miss on occasion.
For me, some of the records that I'm real pumped up on that I do are not the ones that hit.
We interrupt this program to bring you.
During the editing process, putting the visuals together for this video, I came across a really dope post that highlights a few important things shortly before the album's release. For starters, the original concept art. It was actually slightly different. There was a planned slogan under Dr. Dre's face that read, "Roll up a fat one and pass it around." Second, the track list was meant to be different. It was actually intended to include Deep Cover, or at least the version titled 187'em, which was a remix of the song featuring a more intense, explicit lyrics and slightly modified beat. It was intended to be placed between the songs These Nuts and Little Ghetto Boy. The song can be found accompanying the single Let Me Ride. The Roach, as I had mentioned earlier, was meant to wind down the album as a 16th track. And instead, 187M was removed and the song Bitches Ain't Shit was included after The Roach, leaving the track list shuffled from the original intended track list.
We now join our regularly scheduled programming already in progress.
Undoubtedly, though, this album changed the landscape of hip-hop, shifting the direction of sound and quality of a rap album. It brought G-Funk to the mainstream, and more specifically, the song that he didn't like, Birthed an Empire. While Dre gets credit for G-Funk, the irony here is that the word G-Funk itself isn't mentioned a single time in the entirety of this album. How funny is that? Well, that's because the term was first coined by Above the Law, and it was actually on a song that featured Tupac. Just to reiterate the similarities with Black Mafia Life, the album by Above the Law, which was released only 49 days after The Chronic.
God damn.
Black Mafia Life was recorded in 1991, spilling into 92, but was held back due to legal issues with Epic Records and Dr. Dre's departure from Ruthless Records. Ain't that a bitch? Big Hutch says that he was crushed when The Chronic dropped 7 weeks before Black Mafia Life, giving Dre exclusive credit for the genre and the commercial exposure to it. The crazier part is, with the intention of leaving Death Row, Dr. Dre intended for ATL to follow along with them. You know, one of the things I always found really funny was the irony of the title, and Dre claiming that he didn't smoke weed back on the NWA song Express Yourself.
I still express, yo, I don't smoke weed or cess.
You know, I think this was one of those big hypocrisies that was mostly overlooked by everyone who listened to The Chronic. As I mentioned, the only thing I don't like was the homoeroticism masquerading as hypermasculinity. I guess at the time this was acceptable. I don't know. You guys tell me. To bring this to a close, the last thing I want to say about how this album has lived on in Mexican American communities in California is that it's endured the test of time and continues to be loved by us. You know, it's been about 20 years since I first heard the album, and I haven't put it down since. Having grown up in Southern California, this album is still cherished and listened to from San Diego to Oxnard, from the 619 to the 805 and beyond. Let me explain a few reasons why this album is so beloved. One, we love old school, and funk has always been a part of the Chicano street life. Naturally, gangster rap sampling the classics was an appealing audible experience to us. Number 3, gangster rap used the Chicano street life as a template for the music. And lastly, the themes explored in corridos overlap with the concepts of gangster rap. And there you have it. That's my review. And like I always say, just chill till the next episode. Boom.